person I loved most in the world died twice, once in a hospital bed and once in my wife's eyes. I should have known something was wrong the morning after Marcus's funeral. Sarah had never been a morning person. In our 8 years of marriage, I'd grown accustomed to her stumbling into the kitchen around 9. Hair disheveled, squinting at the light like it personally offended her. But that Thursday morning, I woke to the smell of coffee. Not just any coffee, but the specific burnt caramel scent of beans roasted to dark, the kind I'd always hated. It's the kind Marcus used to make. I found Sarah in the kitchen, fully dressed at 6:30 a.m., pouring a cup with the careful attention of a chemist measuring chemicals. She'd even added 2 sugars and a splash of cream, swirling it exactly 3 times clockwise. My stomach tightened watching her. "Morning, Tommy boy," she said without looking up. The cup slipped from my hand. It didn't break. I caught it against my chest, hot coffee soaking through my shirt, but the damage was done. That nickname, that specific stupid nickname that Marcus had given me in college, born from a drunken night and a terrible karaoke rendition of a song I'd rather forget, Sarah had never used it. I'd never even told her about it. "What did you just call me?" She turned then, and her smile was bright. Too bright. "Tommy boy, that's what you like, isn't it?" "Sarah, where did you hear that?" Her head tilted, bird-like. "Hear what, honey?" I wanted to push it, but something in her eyes, something flat and expectant, made me swallow my questions. I blamed it on grief. We'd both just lost Marcus. Stress did strange things to people, but it didn't stop there. Over the next week, Sarah transformed. She started waking up before dawn, always with that horrible coffee ready. She began watching basketball, something she'd actively avoided throughout our entire relationship, in new statistics. Plays, player trades that I'd only ever discussed with Marcus during our Sunday beer sessions. She'd laugh at inside jokes she shouldn't understand. Finishing sentences with references to moments she'd never been present for. "Remember when we saw that guy eat it on the half-pipe at Mountain Creek?" she asked one evening, laughing. His board went one way, his dignity went the other. I stared at her across the dinner table. "You weren't there. That was a ski trip. It's just me and Marcus." "Oh." She blinked slowly. "You must have told me about it." "I didn't." "Well," her smile never wavered. "I guess you did." The worst part wasn't the impossible knowledge. It was how she looked at me. Sarah had always been affectionate, but this was different. She watched me constantly, with an intensity that made my skin crawl. When I moved through the house, her eyes tracked me. When I sat on the couch, she'd position herself close to close her hand, always finding my arm, my shoulder, my knee. At night, she'd wrap herself around me so tightly I'd wake up gasping, her breath hot against my neck. "I just love you so much," she'd whisper. "I never want to be apart from you." It felt like drowning. I started working late, then later. The office became a refuge, and when even that wasn't enough, I found other excuses. The gym, the bar, anywhere but home, where my wife watched me with hungry, adoring eyes that no longer seemed quite like hers. That's when I met Jennifer. She was a consultant on a project my firm was handling, smart, funny, and blessedly unaware of the nightmare my home life had become. Our first coffee was professional, second was friendly. By the third, I was telling her things I shouldn't, about feeling trapped, suffocated, about grieving my best friend while watching my wife become someone I didn't recognize. "Maybe she's grieving too," Jennifer suggested. People process loss differently, but people didn't start brewing coffee they'd never learned to make. They didn't adopt mannerisms from the deceased, or know things they had no way of knowing. The affair, if you could call it, that lasted 3 weeks. 3 weeks of late nights in hotel rooms, and guilt that sat like acid in my stomach. 3 weeks of feeling like myself again, of breathing freely, of not being watched. Sarah never said a word about my absences. She just smiled that too bright smile and made that too dark coffee and waited for me to come home to her suffocating embrace. I decided to end it with Jennifer on a Tuesday. Not because I didn't care about her, I did, more than I should have, but because I couldn't keep living this double life. I needed to confront Sarah, to figure out what was happening to my marriage, to grieve my best friend properly without this twisted pantomime consuming my home. I never got the chance. I came home that night to find Sarah sitting in the dark living room, the only light coming from her phone screen illuminating her face from below. She didn't look up as I entered. "Jennifer seems nice," she said quietly. Ice flooded my veins. "Sarah? No, really. She's pretty successful. I can see why you'd like her." Her voice was calm, measured, and somehow that was worse than anger would have been. "But she doesn't know you, Tommy boy. Not like I do. Stop calling me that." She finally looked up, and in the phone's ghostly light, her face seemed wrong somehow. The shadows fell incorrectly, or maybe it was her expression to neutral, to still like a mask. She never minded. When Marcus said it, the way she said his name with such familiarity, such ownership made something snap inside me. Marcus is dead. The words exploded out of me. "He's dead, Sarah. And you're acting like you're trying to become him or something. It's sick." Silence filled the room like water. Then, slowly, Sarah smiled. "You're right," she said.
Oh.
"Marcus is dead. His body gave out, finally. Pancreatic cancer. He only told me, didn't want to burden you. Marcus died in a car accident. That's what they told you. What I told everyone to tell you?" She stood, moving closer. "He made me promise. In those last weeks when the pain got so bad he could barely speak, he'd just talk about you, about how much he'd miss you, about how wrong it was that we'd never get to grow old together." My back hit the wall. "Sarah, you're scaring me." He asked me, near the end. Asked if I loved you as much as he did. Her hand reached out, fingers trailing along my jaw the way Marcus used to clap my shoulder firm, possessive. I said yes, of course I did. You're my husband. And then he asked me the strangest thing. He asked if he could show me how much he loved you. Really show me? What did you do? I said yes. Her eyes, Sarah's green eyes that I'd fallen in love with years ago. He held something else behind them. Something that recognized me in a way that made my chest tight. He was dying anyway. I wanted to understand what made you so special, so worth loving. So I let him in. I let him show me everything. The room spun. That's not possible. You'd be surprised what's possible when you're desperate enough. Her hand moved to my chest, right over my heart. When you want something badly enough, the universe opens doors. Dark doors, maybe. Doors that shouldn't be opened, but doors nonetheless. Where's Sarah? My voice cracked. Where's my wife? I'm right here, Tommy boy. But the way she said it, the cadence, the inflection, was pure Marcus. We both are. She let me in, and then, well, it turns out there wasn't quite enough room for both of us anymore. She's still here, though, sleeping, quiet. She doesn't mind. She understands now, sees what I see. I shoved past her, stumbling toward the door, but she was faster, impossibly fast, blocking my path. You can't leave, she said, and now her voice was layered, Sarah's soft tone underlying Marcus's familiar cadence. We need you. I've waited so long to be this close to you, to take care of you properly. No more secrets. No more dying alone in hospital rooms while you're kept in the dark. Just us. Forever. This isn't love, I whispered. This is insane. Is it? She stepped closer, and I could smell that burnt caramel coffee on her breath. I watched you pull away from Sarah because she wasn't enough anymore, because I wasn't there. So I came back. I found a way. Isn't that what love is? Finding a way? My phone was in my pocket. Jennifer's number was still pulled up from earlier. But as my hand moved toward it, Sarah or Marcus, or whatever horrible combination they'd become, gently took my wrist. Not going to hurt you, she said softly. I could never hurt you. I'm just going to love you. It's the way I always should have. The way Sarah was learning too, for I needed her body more than she did. Let me go. I can't do that, Tommy boy. Her grip tightened. You're all I have left. All we have left. And after everything I went through to get back to you, I'm not letting you walk out that door. She pulled me close, wrapping me in an embrace that felt like Sarah's arms, but held Marcus's desperate strength. Against my neck, I felt her lips move, forming words in a whisper that carried two voices speaking in unison. I love you. We love you. And we're never going to leave you alone again. Over her shoulder, I could see our reflection in the darkened window. My terrified face, and behind it, Sarah's smiling features. But in the glass's imperfect surface, for just a moment, I swore I saw someone else looking back, Marcus, grinning that old familiar grin, his hand on my shoulder just like always. It's like he never left, like he never would. The coffee pot beeped in the kitchen, starting its automatic morning brew. It was barely midnight. But Sura, whatever wore her face, had already set it to make that horrible burnt caramel blend ID always hated. Marcus's favorite. She pulled back just enough to look at me, and her eyes were full of love so intense it bordered on madness. "Now," she said brightly, "how about that coffee?" And somewhere buried deep behind those green eyes, I thought I heard Sarah screaming.